Have you ever walked into a room and felt a shadow of something hidden behind every smile? We often find ourselves among people who wear masks, hiding insecurities, regrets, and unspoken fears behind polished facades. Yet, if we learn to pierce through that act, we can see the raw, unfiltered truth of human nature. Today, we uncover how the Stoics, those timeless philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, taught us to observe and understand our world without bias. In this journey, we'll share powerful techniques to decode body language, tone, and emotional reactions. By watching closely, we gain an edge not to manipulate others, but to master ourselves. If you're ready to transform your interactions and cultivate inner strength, then subscribe now and stay with us until the end. Because when we truly see others, we also begin to understand the depth of our own being. 1. The tell me more technique. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But in today's world, true listening is rare. Most people aren't really hearing, they're just waiting for their turn to speak. This is where the tell me more technique becomes a powerful Stoic tool. Instead of rushing to reply, interrupt, or debate, pause. When someone is passionately explaining their perspective, meet them with 3 simple words. Tell me more. Those 3 words can shift the entire dynamic of a conversation, drawing out truth while keeping you in control. Consider a historical example. Theodore Roosevelt, one of America's most resilient leaders, was known for his ability to command a room. But his true strength wasn't in speaking, it was in listening. In political debates and tense negotiations, he would often lean in and say, "Tell me more." It disarmed opponents, making them reveal more than they intended. This wasn't manipulation, it was mastery over his own emotions. He let others talk themselves into revealing their true thoughts, while he remained centered and strategic. Why does this technique work? Because when people feel truly heard, they lower their guard. Their words become raw and unfiltered. In a world where everyone fights to be heard, those who master silence and patience gain the upper hand. Stoicism is not about reacting, it is about perceiving, understanding, and then choosing the most rational course of action. The less we talk, the more we learn. The more we learn, the stronger we become. 2. Observe body language. Words can deceive, but the body never lies. The way someone moves, their posture, their facial expressions, these subtle cues tell a story that even they might not be aware of. A Stoic learns to read these signals not to manipulate, but to understand and navigate interactions wisely. Consider an everyday scenario. You're in a business negotiation. The other party smiles. Their words are confident, but their hands are fidgeting under the table, their feet angled toward the door. What does this tell you? They are uncomfortable. They want to leave. They may be hiding something. This principle applies everywhere. A friend assures you they are fine, but their shoulders are tense, their breathing shallow. A colleague nods in agreement, but crosses their arms tightly. Their body reveals the truth, their words attempt to mask. Even historical figures like Abraham Lincoln understood this well. He was known to observe a person's stance and demeanor before making decisions, paying close attention to subtle shifts in posture, nervous gestures, and micro-expressions. He knew that spoken words were only a fragment of the truth, and true intentions often lay in the way someone carried themselves. During the Civil War, Lincoln would carefully watch his generals, not just listen to their reports, noting who displayed confidence in their stance and who wavered in uncertainty. This ability to read beyond words allowed him to navigate complex situations with precision, an invaluable skill for any leader. By following this principle, we too can learn to discern honesty from deception and confidence from insecurity, ensuring that our decisions are grounded in reality rather than mere appearances. By training ourselves to notice these details, we gain an advantage, not over others, but over ourselves. We become less naive, less reactive, and more attuned to reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. A Stoic remains grounded in what is, never deceived by mere appearances. 3. Sudden changes in tone reveal lies and hesitation. People lie not just to deceive others, but to deceive themselves, and yet their voices always betray them. No matter how carefully constructed a lie may be, the subconscious resists revealing the cracks in the mask. When someone speaks the truth, their words flow effortlessly. When they lie, something shifts, an unnatural pause, a forced laugh, a voice that rises or falls in pitch. Their mind may try to control the lie, but the body rebels. This is why a Stoic must learn not just to listen to words, but to perceive the truth beneath them. Think of Richard Nixon during the Watergate scandal. His words were carefully chosen, but his voice wavered. The tension in his speech betrayed the guilt he so desperately tried to conceal. This is the lesson. Deception is a house built on sand it cannot hold. So how do we use this knowledge? We do not react with anger or judgment. We observe. The next time you find yourself doubting someone's honesty, step back. Focus not just on their words, but on their delivery. Do they hesitate when they shouldn't? Do they speak too quickly, as if rushing past an uncomfortable truth? Do they laugh nervously at things that aren't funny? A Stoic does not need to accuse. We do not need to force the truth. We simply allow it to reveal itself, knowing that the weight of reality will always press through the cracks. And in doing so, we master not just our perception of others, but our own ability to remain unmoved by deception. 4. Emotional reactions reveal priorities. People's strongest reactions expose what matters most to them. A person who gets defensive when their intelligence is questioned likely ties their self-worth to being seen as smart. Someone who explodes over a minor inconvenience values control. These emotional reactions are not random. They are windows into a person's deeply rooted fears, insecurities, and desires. Consider the case of Steve Jobs, a man known for his intense emotional outbursts, particularly when his creative vision was challenged. To many, these moments seemed like arrogance or temperamental behavior, but to those who understood him, it was clear. His anger was not about control for its own sake, but about an uncompromising devotion to innovation. His emotions revealed what mattered to him most: perfection and groundbreaking ideas. But let's take it deeper. Think about the man who lashes out at his wife and children after a long, stressful day at work. His rage isn't really about them. It's about the crushing fear of failure, the pressure of expectations, the overwhelming burden of being the provider, or the woman who constantly sabotages relationships, pushing people away before they can hurt her. Her pain is rooted in childhood abandonment, in wounds that never truly healed. These moments, as painful as they are, expose the raw truth of human suffering. The next time someone overreacts, ask yourself, what is this revealing about their priorities? Are they afraid of being seen as inadequate? Are they resisting change because it threatens their sense of stability? A Stoic does not react to another's emotional display with judgment. Instead, we observe, we learn, and we remain steady. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The key to reading people is not just in watching their actions, but in uncovering the unseen forces that drive them. 5. Watch how they treat people with less power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But words are fleeting. Actions, however, are the rawest reflections of a person's inner world. If you seek to uncover someone's true nature, do not listen to their promises. Watch instead how they treat those who hold no power over them. A stark example. Consider the executive who commands attention in board meetings, speaking with grace and persuasion, yet belittles the waiter, bringing his coffee. His mask of charm shatters the moment he believes no one important is watching. This is not an accident, it is a revelation. When there is no pressure to impress, the unfiltered self is exposed. Look to the greats. Abraham Lincoln, known for his unshakable character, would quietly visit hospitals during the Civil War to sit beside wounded soldiers, tending to them as equals. There was no applause, no recognition, only integrity. This is Stoicism in action, living by virtue when no one is looking. A Stoic does not judge based on polished words or well-crafted personas. We train our gaze on the unseen, the moments in between, the unguarded kindness, the unconscious cruelty. The man who holds the door for a stranger, who acknowledges the janitor with dignity, who speaks to all with the same measured respect, he is the one who understands that character is not performance. It is the quiet consistency of virtue practiced when no eyes are watching. 6. The most honest moments happen when they think no one is watching. True character is revealed not when the world is watching, but in the silent moments when no one else is around. We spend our lives crafting an image, wearing masks to fit expectations. But when the stage lights dim and the audience turns away, who remains? It is in those moments that our true self emerges, stripped of performance and pretense. Consider the case of Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor who wielded immense power, yet maintained a private practice of self-reflection and restraint. Unlike many rulers intoxicated by their authority, he sought wisdom in solitude, writing meditations to remind himself that virtue, not vanity, was the highest pursuit. In contrast, think of those who crumble the moment they believe they are unobserved. The leader who acts noble in public but cruel behind closed doors. The friend who is generous in a crowd yet indifferent in private. These inconsistencies expose weakness, not strength. When we observe these moments in others, we must ask ourselves a harder question. Are we living by the same virtues in solitude as we claim to uphold in public? The Stoics teach that our actions must be rooted in integrity, unwavering, regardless of who is or isn't watching. Seneca once wrote, "The reward of a good deed is to have done it." Not recognition, not applause, just the act itself. This is where we find our strength. We are not here to impress. We are here to rise, to evolve, and to strip away what is false within us. And as we forge ourselves in the fires of solitude, we become unshakable, not because the world sees it, but because we know it within. 7. The past is the key to the present. Seneca wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." People are not random. They are echoes of their past. Every scar, every triumph, and every loss leaves an imprint on their soul. If you seek to understand someone, do not judge their present actions in isolation. Trace the path they have walked. Consider the story of Mike Tyson, a man who, despite his aggressive persona, was shaped by a violent childhood, a tough upbringing, and deep-seated fears of abandonment. His rage in the ring was not just about winning, it was an expression of survival. He was not merely reacting to his opponent, he was confronting the ghosts of his past. I once knew a man who seemed constantly on edge, quick to anger, defensive in every conversation. At first I mistook it for arrogance, But when I learned of his betrayals, his financial hardships, and the weight he carried every day, I understood. His outbursts were not about the present moment. They were echoes of past wars he had fought alone. A Stoic does not judge impulsively. We observe, not with frustration, but with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig. To understand others, we must dig deeper, not just into their actions, but into the history that shaped them. And in doing so, we not only see them more clearly, we gain clarity about ourselves. Now here's your challenge. The next time you're in a conversation, talk less and observe more. Try the tell me more technique and see what happens. Pay attention to small interactions, shifts in tone, and emotional reactions. Then, come back and share your experience in the comments. And if this video helped you see the world differently, hit that like button and subscribe, because mastering others starts with mastering yourself. Stay stoic. See you in the next video.